Всем привет! Меня зовут Uali и добро пожаловать снова на мой канал. So for the third video in a row, we are back in October 1989, analyzing the results of the World Championships in Stuttgart. I cannot state enough what a joyous worlds these were for so many fans, despite the sometimes dubious scoring and results. One thing I noticed while rewatching the all-around was that everybody got to compete one at a time, which is glorious and something that I think that they should always do. I know some people enjoy the chaos that comes with it feeling like a four-ring circus atmosphere, but I am not one of those people. It's difficult for me to have to try to put my focus in multiple different places, and then I get anxiety and feel like I'm gonna miss something that's happening somewhere else. So while the Uneven Bars final was its own kettle of fish that we can get into someday, today we are going to take a look at the very interesting balance beam final.
I think I would go as far as to say that this beam final will be the best ever contested beam championship that the world has ever seen.
I wrote an essay about it a couple of years ago, and I would tell you what the title was, but that would be a bit like putting the cart before the horse. And if you're anything like me, spoilers ruin what is so great about sporting events, the suspense. Hopefully you've already seen my video Rejudging 89 Worlds, where I talk about the code of points and how judging worked in 1989. If not, I will helpfully link to it up here. I always don't know which way to point. The TLDR version is that basically the judges did whatever they wanted in multiple different ways and for multiple different reasons. Again, what a time to be alive, right? So we are actually going to use videos uploaded by my friend Boban1611 from German TV. You should definitely subscribe to his channel. He uploads amazing content. He's the best. First up is Henrietta Onodi making her senior world debut. Nice head spring mount. There's a scale. One thing you'll notice about Onodi is that similar to her releases on Uneven Bars, on Balance Beam, a lot of her skills lack amplitude. Very interesting flight series. Layout step out right into her eponymous element, originally performed by Soviet Olga Mastepanova. I think that was supposed to be a switch leap into a layout step out, but as you could see, it was really lacking flexibility and amplitude. There's a nice little roll into a little hold. That's nice. Her jumps and leaps are not very good. One requirement, a special requirement in this code of points, was you had to perform at least one leap or jump with great amplitude, and I don't think she's fulfilled that requirement yet. In my opinion, of course, that's a subjective evaluation. Dismount round off double pike, but you saw very, very, very low. I don't think she got much height on it at all. She just started flipping right off the beam, no set. Not very good technique on that dismount. Another look at her series. This was definitely the high point of the exercise. Layout step out into that half turn. And then a walkover. I think if I was scoring this, I probably would have it at about a 9.75 or a 9.8. Probably 9.8 just to be nice. That's not obviously going to be in the medal range, you would hope. And her score is 9.837. You can see the Italian judge gave her a 9.9. The Australian judge gave her a 9.95, which is sheer madness. And next up is Daniela Silivas, the reigning Olympic champion on balance beam. So clearly one of the favorites. I think that was just a variation on her eponymous mount. She didn't do the whole thing. Gorgeous flexibility on that. Front aerial, very nice. Back handspring, layout, step out, good form. Of course, Silavash works beam with great confidence. It's like a split leap to Sasson. Back handspring, pike back. Just a little bit of a small waver. She actually is working with a little bit more hesitation than I'm used to seeing from her. I think it was very important for her, obviously, to not make any mistakes because she fell off the beam in the all-around in the last rotation. All that's left is this dismount, back handspring, tuck double back. You see the cowboy and the hop back. But otherwise, a good solid set. I think the highlight of the exercise for me was the scale at the top. That was so beautiful. So I think my score for this would be a 9-9. She's still early up. She had the hop on the dismount, the cowboy. She didn't work with abandon. To me, it didn't reach that 9.95 threshold. But the Greek judge is the only one in agreement with me. The Norwegian judge has her at 10. Everyone else has her at 9.95, which makes that her average. Next up is my love, Chen Sei-ting. She has the same mount as Anodi, that head spring mount, only better in my opinion. She has a very interesting rhythm on beam. Her leaps have beautiful amplitude. And everything is just so polished. Back handspring, layout, step out, high layout, step out, to another back handspring. Again, her presentation is top notch. Her expression is divine. Gorgeous switch leap. And here, straddle jump, Sasson, lovely. You really feel like you're watching a performance. She's putting on a show. And here comes her big eponymous trick, back handspring to chin. That tuck, back tuck swing down, but she was offline and had to make an adjustment. Now, how big of an adjustment that was is clearly and obviously subjective. For me, I would only take a 10th, honestly. Tuck double back, legs glued together, toes pointed, just a tiny hop. Oh, look at that. Oh, you can see how she landed offline. Look at how high she is. It's incredible. But it's such a shame that she had that break. But again, it's, like I said, I would take a 10th, maybe up to a 10th. Honestly, my score for this would be a 9-9. It was otherwise gorgeous. She is a little bit, low and has to take a small hop, but there were so many glorious things about that exercise for me. And her score is 9.862. You can see lots of the judges gave her a 9.9 as I did, but the Greek judge gave her a 9.5. That is insanity. And the Italian judge gave her a 9.8. Because the Greek judge gave her a 9.5, she has to count the 9.8. Otherwise, that would have been the low score, and she would have had a 9.887, which is far more fair, in my opinion. At the Europeans earlier in '89, there were co-champions between Dudnik and Podorak, and Dudnik is up first. Mounting with a layout step out. Typically, one of my favorite parts is she does that whole sequence with her leg up, but she had to put it down. She goes right into that side aerial into two layout step outs. Such an innovative combination that has become a lot more common these days. There is her leap series that I just do not think has sufficient amplitude. Now watch this, she'll do round off into a back pike with a full. So much difficulty. She was one of the first to do a full twist that wasn't in tuck position. There's her Jim Acro. I don't think her presentation or expression is at the level of Chen for me, but the difficulty is out of this world. Round off back handspring, triple twist. Whoa. Wow. She almost put her hand down, it looked like. Very, very low landing. For me, because leaps did not have great amplitude, and we'll take a look here at the dismount series again. Watch how low she lands this triple full. Of course, you have the crossing of the legs, but oof. I would have this at 9-9. Same as Chen. Like, the mistake on Chen's eponymous skill for me is about the same as the mistake on this triple full. They are very similar. Oof. Again, yeah. And there's quite the delay before her scores come up, but as you can see, they are still extremely high. Australia agrees with me at 9-9. Italy has her even lower, but everyone else has her at 9-9-5, meaning she counts 3 9-9-5s and a 9-9, so her score is 9-9-3-7, and she is into second place behind Silavash. And here is the other co-champion, Gabriela Poltorak. She does the same mount as we just saw from Dudnik, but she barely cleared the beam. Very, very poor amplitude. Back handspring, layout, step out. Confident. There's a shimmy, her trademark. Again, those leaps and jumps just do not have good amplitude. It's a nice little handstand turn sequence. Sasson landed on one leg. Sasson with poor amplitude landed on one leg. Here's their pike back, and that was a bit of a bobble, a bit of a save. Like, I am not loving this routine. Let's just put it that way. Round off, back handspring, tuck double back, shuffle on the landing, and again you saw the cowboy. Because we're in event finals, we are basically now ranking these gymnasts if we're scoring them. So I would have this at 9.85. And here are her scores. You see she has a 9.8 from the Australian judge, a 9.85 from the Greek judge, 3 9.9s and a 9.95 from the Italian judge. You know, put it all in a blender and you get a 9.887, which is what I think Chen would have gotten had that same Greek judge not given her a 9.5. So that score puts her into third place behind Dudnik and ahead of Chen. And here is the one that we all came to see, the best balance beam worker of all time for my money, Yang Bo. Ugh. Every movement of her body in this routine is art. Exquisite amplitude on the switch leap into Sasson. She has variety, she has difficulty, she has amplitude, she has flexibility. She is the total package. Layout, step out, Rofova. So she has innovation as well, because that sequence had never been performed before. Front aerial, immediate scale, and then she goes right into that little handstand turn. Trademark Yang Bo jump. So difficult to lose sight of the beam like that. Oh gosh, this is breathtaking. Back handspring to 2 layout step outs. Second one was even higher than the first. Like, she has not put one foot wrong so far. All that's left is the dismount. Impeccable rhythm. Round off tuck, double back, but oh, sorry, it's hard for me to pretend like I didn't know that was happening. I could have pretended to be more shocked, but that is such a bummer. What a shame. This is one of the most heartbreaking moments in the history of gymnastics, honestly. And it's so sad because she should have been the champion. Easily. You know, this was way before the open-ended system, but she would have had like a Simone, 3 fall lead level of gymnastics, right? Like, this was so good. I cannot tell you how difficult this combination is. We saw Horkina do it 15 years later, like a quarter as good. I would probably have this at 9.8. You can see I think that's the East German judge gave her a 9.95 still, which, of course, I don't think Dudnik should have been getting 9.95s either. Norway 9.8, Italy 9.75, New Zealand 9.85, Greece 9.8, and Australia 9.75. Her average is 9.8. So sad. So I can now disclose the title of my essay about the 89 beam final. It's called The Triumph of Mediocrity and the Agony of Everyone Better Effing Up, aka the 89 World's Balance Beam Final. And that, I think, is what we just witnessed. I think I ended up having 3 gymnasts at a 9.9, Solivash, Chen, and Dudnik. If I were to rank them, I think Solivash would obviously be first, and then I would have Dudnik and Chen tied for the silver. But now that I think about it, I could easily see having Solivash at 9.95. It's just one of those things. When you're only one person and not a panel of 6 judges, it's very difficult to break ties, clearly. That's why there are 6 judges. But the actual results of Solivash first is fine. Dudnik second is okay, but Podorak third is the one that I really just don't get. And as we just saw through the magic of math, the score of that one Greek judge totally robbed Chen Sei-Ting out of a bronze medal. It's just not right. I did not realize that 2 years ago, so that is something new that I learned today, and it's making me not happy. But what are you gonna do? Especially over something that happened 34 years ago, really. I am very, very curious to get your guys' thoughts on this one, because there is so much going on here. There's kind of a lot of septic material to kind of scour through here to come up with results. So I'm very curious to see what you guys have. What would your results have been? Who would you have had on the podium? You saw the huge issue that Dudnik had on her landing, but of course Yang Bo, same thing. Would you have had Podorak on this podium over Chen Sei-Ting? Please write your comments down below. Please hit that thumbs up if you like the video. I will see you guys all in my next one. Take care. Do skóra. Bye, loves.